You're listening to The David Knight Show.
Welcome back. When we look at what's going on with Dotcom, it's an amazing piece of doublethink from your corporate government masters. You have to be able to hold two mutually exclusive ideas simultaneously and attribute both of them to be true in order to understand what they're doing against Dotcom. And of course, we just had the anniversary of Orwell's 1984 this last Saturday, June the 8th. So why not, right? That's the land in which we live now. You know, we have the 1996 Communications Decency Act that essentially says no provider of any interactive computer services shall be held treated as a publisher for any of the content that a third party puts up on their site. Essentially, I'm paraphrasing it here. But that's essentially what the 1996 Communications Decency Act, you hear people talking about Section 230 and so forth. That basically should give immunity to all these people. And yet, that's exactly what they did to Ross Ulbricht. They sentenced him to multiple life sentences that he's still serving. They twisted every law to the point you'd think that they couldn't twist it and invert it and turn it inside out anymore. They enhanced the charges against him by some phony charges that were disproved, that he was never even charged with, quite frankly. There were allegations that surfaced in fake news. But of course, their fake news is authoritative, right? And they used that. The judge referenced reports in authoritative, quote unquote, air quotes, authoritative press, saying that he had been involved in a murder for hire. Well, there wasn't enough evidence for them to even indict him on that. But they kept that out there. And in the hearing where they said, well, there was illegal stuff put up on your Silk Road website, and we're going to hold you responsible for that in violation of their own law. Section 230 of the 1996 Communications Decency Act. They held him responsible for that, and then they upped the charges with things, again, that were he was never even indicted for, and those allegations were just thrown out. They said, well, we're not going to bother with this after they sentenced him. And so now they're doing the same thing, trying to do the same thing with Dotcom, trying to extradite him to the United States. They have trumped up the charges against him. They stole everything he had 7 years ago, as he pointed out. You know, I never worked there. I never lived there. I didn't have any business there, but they took everything that I earned 7 years ago after they shut down his file sharing website. And now they've got charges of conspiracy. Let me tell you, there is no conspiracy theorist that can hold a candle to the federal government. They charge everybody with conspiracy. Everybody is guilty of conspiracy in their eyes. Racketeering, money laundering, and if found guilty, Dotcom could face decades in prison if the people in New Zealand extradite him. And the real risk here is not that he's done anything wrong. The real risk is that New Zealand is part of the Five Eyes program. We have the linking and sharing of intelligence services spying on you. Those Five Eyes are watching you. The Five Eyes are the United States, England, Canada, Australia, New Zealand. One of Dotcom's lawyers said in an interview that if anyone did anything illegal in relation to Mega Upload, it was the users. Same thing as Silk Road, and same thing that should be covered by Section 230 of the 1996 Communications Decency Act. But they've come against Dotcom. They came against Dotcom. They came against Ross Ulbricht at about the same time. They were offering a carrot. See, that's the stick, the threat to the big internet companies. You better play ball with us. You better do what we say. You better spy on these people and turn that information over to us. You better shut down anybody that says anything that we don't like politically. You better do all that, or we're going to give you the Dotcom or the Ross Ulbricht treatment. Because we don't care even about our unconstitutional laws. We don't care about any of that stuff. We've got the regulatory agencies, the bureaucracies. We've got legislation without representation. Your elected congressmen are not passing laws. The laws are being passed by the bureaucracy. And they don't call them laws. They call them regulations. They say, since they're regulations, you don't have any due process. Same thing they're doing to people with CPS. Oh, this is coming from a bureaucracy. So the bureaucracy doesn't have to give you the presumption of innocence. The bureaucracy doesn't have to give you due process. The bureaucracy doesn't have to show you the charges against you. They just bring you in and say, sign this piece of paper, or we're going to take your kids. And if you sign the piece of paper, they take your kids anyway. This is the Nazi Orwellian government we live under. That's why I spent time on that last week. I had people come back and say, you're over the top. No, I'm not. Our government is over the top. One of his lawyers said, this case is all about trying to hold Mega Upload and Kim.com and others responsible for the acts of their users. And that's why he was patient zero in this stuff. And believe me, I pointed out many times, you've got DARPA, you've got the CIA's In-Q-Tel. They've seated these nerds that want to be our lords. I've talked about this before. Mark Zuckerberg has this infatuation with Caesar Augustus. He even named his daughter Augustine or Augustina or something like that. And he, on his honeymoon, they went to all these different places to study Caesar Augustus. He's got the thumbs up or the thumbs down on Facebook. And these are the megalomaniacs that the government establishment put in place. And just to make sure they understand, they said, we've got this thing here where people publish stuff. They set up a website. They provide internet service. They set up, they let people upload things or sell things, but we're going to hold you personally responsible. So you're going to be our gatekeepers, our censors. Why do they do that? So they don't have to directly challenge the First Amendment. So they don't have to directly challenge all the other prohibitions on their actions. They set up these shills. And as I said, I saw this decades ago. They would control who had access to the political debates. You could jump through all the extra hoops that they put up for anybody that's not a Republican or Democrat. You could get on the ballot as a third party or as an independent, but you're not going to get in the debates because they've got their private press organizations that are running the debates. And they say, well, it's a private organization that's running this, so they can decide who they're going to let into the debates. And you got nothing to say about that. And so they're using that same tactic to take control of the digital public square. And Kim.com said, in 2005, I created a website that allowed people to upload files to the cloud. At the time, only small files could be attached to emails. Mega Upload allowed users to email a link to a file, and that's it. Now, in 2019, the New Zealand Supreme Court decides if I should be extradited for this quote-unquote crime. He has said that this is an effort to further stomp on web freedom, and if he's prosecuted, any internet provider can be held liable for the misuse of their services by users. That's exactly right. Other people commented and said, if you're extradited or even found guilty of these charges, I expect to see Google and YouTube also facing the same charges. Don't wait. Don't hold your breath. They're not going to do anything to Google. They are their agents. They're going to use this type of stuff against anybody else who wants to have an independent site. You can bet that. But they were set up to do business by this, and they are willing servants of this. Partners, not servants, partners. It's a public-private partnership to control you. Another person said, if you're found guilty of this crime, then all gun manufacturers should be imprisoned for causing millions of deaths. That's how dumb this is. Well, no matter how dumb that is, that's exactly what they're doing. You've got the Connecticut Supreme Court in March of this year ruled that Sandy Hook families can sue Remington because of the way that their guns were used. You can sue automobile manufacturers, presumably, because somebody gets in there, drives drunk, and kills somebody. Well, go sue Ford or GM, whatever. That's what this really is. And, of course, this whole idea has been pushed by Democrat politicians to not just make it a civil lawsuit, but to actually hold them liable. This is what we're looking at, folks. And you have to understand that the largest corporations in the world have targeted InfoWars for extinction. And if you want to help us, if you want to be our sponsors, we've tried to offer some discounts to make that even easier for you, even more attractive for you to provide for your health and your family's health. We've got all of our Force products on sale right now, 50% off. That's Brain Force Plus, DNA Force Plus, Tell you, Brain Force, I take on a daily basis, a key ingredient of this show. DNA Force Plus, that's a big dollar savings, 50% off. Take a look at those at InfoWarsStore.com. Don't forget, you can use the code DAVID to get an additional 20% off of Silver Bullet. And don't forget to follow me on Twitter and YouTube, Libertarian. I'll be right back. Stay with us.
You're listening to The David Knight Show.
We're bringing back one of the biggest fan-favorite formulas we've ever offered with even better ingredients. Ultimate Bone Broth. InfoWars Life is proud to bring you a powerhouse bone broth formula to help push you to your limits. This incredible formula will help you get the most out of your workout with the power of ultra high-quality bone broth, one of the most popular health trends on the planet. Built with more than 7 different superfoods and crucial compounds, Ultimate Bone Broth will help support your healthy muscles, digestion, tendons, and ligaments, while also supporting your body's fight against free radicals. This incredible chicken bone broth formula contains time-tested ingredients such as turmeric root, chaga mushroom, goji berry powder, bee pollen, and alfalfa herb powder to support your body. It's time to experience what Ultimate Bone Broth can do for you. Get Ultimate Bone Broth now at 50% off.